Hello guys, and welcome back to another video about the AFL tipping for round 18. So let's have a look at what happened on the weekend. Another good round of football. So we started at the Cattery where Geelong beat Melbourne quite easily. I picked this one. I think Geelong are playing a lot better than Melbourne at the moment just because of their forward line. It's in disarray. Couple of Fritzes out of form. They can't seem to get it in the way that they've been doing it. If it wasn't for their midfield kicking goals, I think half of them they would have scored about 30 points. So good win by the Cats to put them back on top. Sydney quite easily beat Bulldogs. Bulldogs are finished for the year. They won't make it. Sydney playing well again. Last couple of weeks they've faltered, but really good game on the weekend. Collingwood had the shock of their life with North Melbourne. North Melbourne should have really hung on to that game. It would have been good for their coach. 24 points or something they were up at the last quarter. All they had to do was kick a goal or 2 goals and they could have won that one. Suns with a kick after the siren to beat Richmond. That could be really important for Richmond. We'll talk about that later. Freo beat St Kilda. St Kilda looked pretty ordinary. I think Fremantle put on 40 points in the last quarter just to run away with it. Again, St Kilda just having problems like a lot of teams. They just can't kick goals and breaking down in their forward line. Really disappointing by GWS. Okay, 60 points by Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide they're not a smoky to make the 8, but they can cause a lot of damage. Lions went down disappointingly. What a pathetic effort by the Lions. Even though we were devastated with 9 players out, was still lack of effort. Even our seconds should have beaten Essendon. I don't know how many goals they kicked just waltzing through our midfield, which is just not good enough. Adelaide were poor against Hawthorn, or vice versa. Hawthorn were really good against Adelaide. I didn't watch this game, but Mitch, he kicked 5 goals, I think. So good effort by the Hawks, and Carlton absolutely destroyed the Eagles. I just want to go back and have a look at the hypocrisy of the AFL. So in this Sydney Swans match, because Papley was put on report for a high incident, and I just had a look at the incident explained, which is on the AFL website, and it says the ball is loose in the centre. Papley and Dunkley approach the ball from opposite directions and high contact is made by Papley on Dunkley. It was determined by the MRO that Papley was contesting the ball. It was reasonable for Papley to contest the ball in that way. So let's have a look at it.
So this is that little scrubber there, the front on contact. Josh Dunkley never played a game of football here ever. Josh Dunkley.
So Papley clearly looks at him. Okay, clearly looks at Dunkley.
Never played a game of football.
And sees that his head's down and chooses to hit him in the top of the head with his hip. Alright, that could have broken his neck. And you have a good look at it. He clearly looks at him before he makes contact. So he knows he's there. And doesn't pull up, doesn't pull out. I don't even think he touched the ball. Alright, and now they're saying there's nothing to see here. Alright, let's go back to round 1 with Mitch Robinson.
Dangerous spot. Through the hands of Rayner it goes. Still alive for Brisbane. Mead's got to be cool in his first game, and Dersma met heavily. Free kick and afters. Carter finished. You could have bet your house on Mitch Robinson.
So Mitch Robinson turns, braces for impact, pulls up, doesn't go hard, stops, and just gets him in the head. And I don't think he did. It was more of a shoulder. Gets him with his shoulder.
Free kick and afters. Carter finished. You could have bet your house on Mitch.
Okay, now he got a week for that. So if you hit someone in the shoulder and you're actually trying to protect the player, you get 1 week, whereas Papley physically looks at the player and then hits him right on the top of the head with his hip, and then all of a sudden the AFL says there's nothing to see here. If you don't think that there's different rules for different players, you're not watching the same game that I've been watching for 40 years. If that was Toby Green, he would have got 6 weeks. Okay, he would have got the Toby tax. But because they want Sydney to win and they want them to be in finals, they just look the other way. If you disagree, I'd like to hear some of your comments. And don't get me wrong, I like Papley. I think he's one of the better players in the league, but I think the hypocrisy is pretty obvious here. Anyway, let's get back to our tipping. My wife pointed out that next week could be absolutely amazing, and I'll show you why. So this is why I'm tipping the way that I am this week. We only need 2 upsets and we might have something that I don't think has ever happened in the AFL. So we've got St Kilda against Western Bulldogs. Now both of them are very similar teams, so there's nothing saying that St Kilda can't beat the Bulldogs. So I'm going St Kilda. I'll go by 3 goals. Okay, Collingwood should beat Adelaide the way that Collingwood are playing. They're playing really well. Lions to beat Giants after last week's effort by both teams, but Giants were absolutely hopeless. Hopefully we should get six players back. Richmond should beat North. Now this is where we need an upset. So we want Carlton to beat Geelong, okay, which is a hard game, but it's at the MCG. Carlton are playing well. Geelong aren't so good there. If it was at the Cattery, well, that would be a different thing. Swans to beat Freo. So Swans had a good game, Fremantle had a good game. I think they're pretty evenly matched teams. So if we can get the Swannies up. Hawks to beat West Coast, which they should do. Now this is where I say Port can actually do a bit of damage. So Port can beat Melbourne. Okay, now it's at Traeger Park. Okay, so it's up in Darwin. I know Port never play well up there because it's always muggy and wet and all that sort of stuff. I think they've lost all their games that they've ever played there, but Melbourne haven't handled it too well up there either. So Port can beat Melbourne, and then the Sunnies to beat Essendon. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, if we go on to our predictor, if all of those teams can win, we'll have 6 teams on 48 points. 6 teams all divided by percentage for the top of the ladder, and I don't think that's ever happened at all. So hopefully all my tips get up, and that will be an absolutely amazing round to have a look at 6 teams on top of the ladder. Last week I told you guys to have a look at Geelong at $13. They've dropped to $6 now. Okay, so they've halved, so hopefully you put some money on it for $13. Geelong look the goods at the moment. They're definitely the form team coming into it. And I think Collingwood dropped from $100 down to $17. And if this round pans out, who would have thought that Collingwood could be equal first? But isn't that amazing if we can get these tips in? So anyway, I hope that happens. Good luck with your team. Hopefully your team won on the weekend. If you like these videos, like and subscribe. And hopefully my tips get up this week and we'll have an absolutely amazing final series. So good luck everyone, and I'll see you again.